Hello, my wonderful live audience. Let me just get that out of the way. How's everyone going? Um, Stream's a little bit starting a little bit late, just a little bit. I had some issues. If I can give you some advice, if you still have Windows 7, don't update. Because Windows 10 sucks. It sucks. All right? Windows 10 is an abomination, and one of my greatest mistakes in life was deciding to upgrade from Windows 7 to Windows 10. Like Windows has always done that thing where it's like, "Oh, you got something important to do? Well, let me update. Let me update without telling you. Let me just update without telling you and ruin your whole day." And then I was having connection problems, so that's why I'm a little late. But I'm not gonna bother wasting any more time discussing my connection issues. So, guys, things are going to be a little bit different in this live stream. This is a Q&A live stream, which I've done before, but this is a different one. I'm going to be doing these maybe bi-weekly or once every week during the season. Um, you can ask me on Twitter, ideas of ice and fire. Well, ideas of ice underscore fire at Twitter. I've got my Twitter feed up, so submit me questions on Twitter, and that's the best way your question will get answered on this live stream, or through Facebook, my Facebook page, and I'll also be answering questions from the live chat as well, periodically. So, oh, and also questions from my last two Game of Thrones videos, the review and the one about grayscale. I'll be answering some questions. First thing that I do need to talk about, however, is Sam and his is the grayscale whole thing. All right. So as far as we know, and I don't get why people have a problem with me saying this. As far as we know at this point in time, there is no cure for grayscale. There is no cure for grayscale. Like, I'm not saying that one's not going to be discovered later on, but currently there is no cure. Now, like, people have sent me this image of Sam last episode, and he's got the book, the Dragonstone, the book that has the book that's about Dragonstone, right? And on the side right here, underlined, it looks like it says Dragon Glass as a cure for, but you can't really see what's next. Dragon Glass as a cure for. So a lot of people are assuming that it means Dragon Glass is a cure for grayscale. Okay, look, I, I do. My problem with this is like, okay, so this is a book in the restricted area of the Citadel, and Sam just literally just goes there, picks up this book, and this information is in there about Dragon Glass being a cure. To me, that just seems super lazy, to be honest. Uh, I mean, it seems super lazy because he picks up this book and it's got the answers to everything in it. And also, has no other maester ever looked at this book? Because Dragonglass, I mean, grayscale is a very deadly contagious disease. And they've had this answer in the restricted area this long and no one's said anything. That just strikes me as odd. But you know, it's a show. Shireen Baratheon was not cured, capital H. Shireen Baratheon was not cured. I wish people would stop saying that. The disease was dormant in Shireen Baratheon. She wasn't cured. She was not cured. The free folk beyond the wall understand that you can't cure grayscale. It'll always come back. It may go dormant for a while, but it'll always come back. So as of now, as of right now, there is no understood current cure for grayscale. Stannis Baratheon, to cure Shireen, he used all of his resources. He spent a ton of money, and all they did was make it dormant. All right? All they could do was stop it from spreading and stop it from being contagious. Yes, capital H. Well, that's the answer. I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry that I was a little. I haven't slept enough. I have not slept enough. And a lot of people have been saying the same thing. Shireen was cured. Shireen was cured. Shireen was cured, and she wasn't cured. She simply was not. Um. So let's move on to some other stuff. Let's start with some questions that I got on the last video. So this is Camilio Paulino. Great video. Q&A. What's going on with Littlefinger? Do you think his machinations are ongoing, coming to fruition, or just tossed aside for show brevity a la Doom, a la Doran Martell or Marjorie Tyrell? It looks to me like they're setting him up to fail, completely infatuated with Sansa. I could see them setting Littlefinger up to fail in that way. However, judging by the trailer and the screens that we get from him from the trailer, it seems as though he's got something going on behind the scenes, and it's probably going to be one of those Game of Thrones, like something comes out of left field and he does something super shocking that no one sees coming out of nowhere. Which I feel like that moment is coming. I don't feel like Littlefinger's just gonna go out just weak and pathetic. I do think he's gonna die, but I think he has further plans that are soon to be, like the apex of his plan is soon to be revealed. That's what I think is probably going on with Littlefinger at this point. Let's see. So this comment is going to be about George R. R. Martin's latest comment about those resurrected by R'hllor. Oh, this is a long one. Being fire whites, I think the idea that those resurrected by fire are also a type of white makes sense, seeing as George R. R. Martin has said that there are no evil or pure good sides to the story. However, with what we've been shown thus far, of course, taking into account the fact that the show is not being written by George R. R. Martin anymore, the fire whites seem to have much more of themselves and control. For instance, when the brothers of the Night's Watch that attacked G.R. Mormont were brought back, they had all their memories but no control of their bodies. They would kill anyone without remorse. Good point. Good point. And be injured without pain. The Firewhites, on the other hand, using Beric as the main example, seem to have the most of their memories. They still feel pain. They still have relationships, understanding of honor, etc. In the case of the show, Jon Snow, who having been raised only once, seems mostly intact, seems to further the idea. My question then is, why do fire whites have willpower, choice, when ice whites do not? Is it because of symbolism of sorts, like cold being related to sluggishness, dormancy, and preservation, while fire is associated with passion, energy, and consumption? What is your opinion? Okay, well, there's a lot of... The magic could just simply be different. The magic could simply be different, or it could work in a different way, or one form of magic could be more potent than the other. I also like to take into consideration that the reason that Beric or Stoneheart or anyone even like loses some of themselves when they die and are resurrected is, I think, due to the fact that simply brain cells have died off and they've lost that part of their mind which contained that certain memory or feeling or emotion or whatever. When it comes to ice whites, this is maybe a stretch because I don't know. I know just as much as you do about this. This may be a stretch, but ice, when a person freezes, when the body freezes over, ice crystals form inside your blood cells, and they essentially rip the cells apart. So, that being said, if a person is reanimated by ice magic, perhaps the cells in their brain have completely exploded, so that's why there's no more of them. That's why they're just kind of like a zombie. Your brain's turned to mush from being frozen, essentially. So perhaps that's why the ice whites don't necessarily have themselves or feel... It's literally just a physical thing, and it doesn't really have anything to do with the way the magic works. I'm gonna shrink the size of the chat right here for a second. So yeah, that's my take on that. Okay, we're going to answer one more question from YouTube, and then we're going to switch to... Well, send me some questions through Twitter, guys, so I can answer some Twitter questions. What the fuck is going on with Jaime? Does he know about the Sept? Does he care? He seemed more pissed off by Euron than his son dying. Also, do you think Arya released Edmure? See, I don't even think the show cares about poor Edmure anymore. I don't even think show watchers even realize who Edmure is. If you probably walked up to a show watcher that hasn't read the books and doesn't watch internet videos, they'd probably be like, what the heck is an Edmure? But what's going on with Jaime? Interesting. I mean, Jaime was upset that Tommen was dead. I think Jaime is more concerned about Cersei. That he's always been more concerned about Cersei than he has his children. Let's be real. I don't think. I mean, Jaime's on Cersei's side. He's in like. I think he's different from book Jaime. But like, as far as what's wrong with him, I think he's on Cersei's side. He wants to help Cersei. He understands that his sister is a crazy biatch. There's no way he doesn't know that the Sept has exploded. Last season, when he sees Cersei take the throne, he looks apprehensive, but at the same time, she's his sister, and he's gonna serve his queen. Okay, let's move on to some Facebook questions. Do you think this season will be as awful as season 4, 5, and 6? Well, season 4 wasn't that bad. 5 is definitely the worst. And 6 had the worst moments, but 6 also had some of the best moments. And as far as what this season will be, well, that remains to be seen. We have to give it a try. We have to wait. Okay, will Wyman Manderley be in this season? I like the guy who played him in season 610. Wyman Manderley. I don't remember him last season. I really don't. I'm going to see if I can find... I know the name from the books, but I don't remember what he looked like in the show and what he was doing in the show. Well, it looks like... Okay... Oh, well, that's great. That's great. I was using Edge, Microsoft Edge to do that. And for some reason, Microsoft Edge crashed because for some reason my encoder won't do Chrome. And then Microsoft Edge just crashed on me. That was brilliant. In the middle of me reading, Yeah, don't worry about little old me. Don't worry about my little live stream computer. Just do whatever the fuck you want. I mean, it's fine. It's totally just... It's fantastic. You can just... I mean, yeah. Just close down all the windows in the middle of me trying to answer questions. It's fine. It's fine, It's fine. I just gotta take time out of the live stream while everyone's watching to fix these problems. But, no. Do whatever you want, Windows, because you be your own person. We gotta give machines rights because otherwise. Oh my God. Remove this. Sorry, guys. I'm still having computer problems apparently. This will just take a second. This will just take a second to get this back on track. I only had 3 windows up, which is why I'm just like, I don't know why my computer literally died and choked. It's like, I can't handle this. I can't handle what you're doing to me right now, please. Give me 1 second, just a few more tweaks to be made. For some reason, none of my settings were preserved just then either. So I have to redo all these windows, get them all back up. Okay. Back to the Facebook questions. Okay. So where were we, guys? Sorry about that. Will Davos ever... Oh, I was looking up Wyman Manderley. That's what made it crash. The name is cursed. This is what I get for using Microsoft Edge, but I have no choice. I have no choice because like my encoder won't capture. Was this him? Was this the guy that played? I don't remember. I don't remember him at all. I really don't remember him at all. Huh. Interesting. I mean, I don't know if he will be there or not. And now these are both gonna start.
If you write
playing,
anything on your computer, you need to.
Shut up. I don't give a crap. I don't give a. Could this live stream be any more of a disaster at this point? Whoa! I just got a $10 super chat. Well, I gotta read this question on YouTube. Why was Dragonstone deserted? No sellsword, no squatters in the power vacuum. Why didn't Jon use the Dreadfort as a reward to his loyal northern houses? That's a good point. We mentioned Carhold and we mentioned Last Hearth, but not the Dreadfort. The Dreadfort, I mean, definitely should go to someone. So that is a very good point. I'm not exactly sure why Jon didn't do that. I think that it can be passed off as just the show watchers did not think of it. I mean, not the show watchers, but the showrunners just did not think of that. And as to the question is, why was there no one at Dragonstone? Why was Dragonstone deserted? Well, who would go to Dragonstone? You got to ask yourself that. Like, you'd need people to man it. And also Dragonstone is kind of like a miserable rock. I mean, there's not much there. So you would need men to man it, and like it would kind of be hard to keep, and it's kind of pointless unless you're trying to take over some stuff. And it's so close to King's Landing that I feel like anyone that would try to take Dragonstone would be kind of wary of Cersei being like right around the corner. So that's why I think Dragonstone was probably left unmanned. But maybe, I mean, I feel like there should maybe be like a few people hanging around, because you know there were people there when Stannis was there. So I felt like maybe there should have been like a few people, but I felt like the showrunners wanted to give Daenerys that kind of grand opening, and it kind of went on for too long, if I'm being perfectly honest. Okay. So okay, I got a Twitter question. Do you think the wall will come down this season? And if so, do you think the whole wall goes down, and how will it happen? I have said before that I do think the wall will probably go down this season. I mean, it has to. I was expecting it last season, to be honest. I mean, I feel like we see in the beginning the others are marching. Death is marching on the wall. It has to go down. It has to go down. I mean, I feel like that has to be the big climactic moment at the end where it goes down. I'm not sure how they're going to bring it down in the show. I feel like it's going to be... Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure how they're going to do it, but I feel like it's coming. I feel like it's coming. There's most likely not going to be a Horn of Jormungand at this point, so like I'm not really expecting that, but it's coming down in my opinion. Okay. And I didn't read the person's name that gave me the super chat. BJJ. Thanks for that. I think that's like my first super chat ever. Never gotten one. Oh, wow. Speak of the devil. Well, this one doesn't have a question. So, okay. But thanks, Lady Wolverton's Den. That's very kind of you. So let's answer another YouTube question from the other video. Let's go with the other video. Let's not go with the other video. Let's go to Facebook because it wouldn't load. Why do you think Shireen still has grayscale and is a carrier of the disease still? Your only evidence is the fear and revulsion of the wildling vow. You completely discount the maester's view that grayscale in children can be cured. Why? Why do you think the wildling superstition takes precedence over established master science? Granted, Westeros is a primitive culture compared to our own, but they have far more advanced than wildlings. Wildlings haven't even advanced to the point where bronze metallurgy is universal, let alone to the point where they can work. Okay, well, I get where you're asking. The reason that I put more stock in the wildling account than I do the maester account is because George R. Martin put that in there for a reason. I don't think it's as simple as she's cured. It's meant to be foreboding. It's meant to suggest that Shireen has a greater, darker purpose. Um, so that's why I lean more on the side that Shireen still has the disease dormant. I put a lot of stock in the wisdom of the wildlings. I think in a lot of ways they are much smarter than the common people of Westeros, and I think in a lot of ways they know things that maesters couldn't dream of knowing. And a lot of things, yeah, I put, yeah, I believe Val over the maesters. I do. I think that perhaps grayscale has been cured in rare cases. Perhaps the disease has been defeated, but I feel like it, in the case of Shireen, it is laying dormant. There is no cure for grayscale. There is no known cure for grayscale. There just isn't one. Okay. Dude, I mean, look, in the I'm reading this question still. I'll continue it. Also, the question I think does damage to your assertions that grayscale is incurable is the fact that, do you really believe George R. Martin will write a story where superstition, prejudice, and fear beats science? Superstition, prejudice, and fear beats science all the time. I'm not saying it's always accurate, but like superstition, prejudice, and fear, all but like throughout history has always trumped science. But look, the Maesters have their problems too. The Maesters aren't all right all the time. I feel like George R. R. Martin wrote that in such a way that it is suggesting that Shireen has a darker purpose. Darker purpose. And like I said, there is no known cure, is what I'm saying. There's a reason that they send people to the Grey Isles in the Royne to let them suffer and die. Because there is no known cure. There is no known cure. Okay. Let's go back to get some YouTube questions. This page won't load for some reason, so I'm just gonna take them from this one. Is it ever established in the books or the show if only certain people crucial to R'hllor's plan can look into the flames, or is it just about anyone who can see what followers like Thoros sees? That's an interesting question. In the books, Melisandre makes a point of saying that her ability to look into the flames and interpret visions is a skill that she has developed over time. So it's very much not just anybody can do this. You have to be trained to do this. It's an art. But in the show, since the very beginning, essentially, it's just been. It seems to be that is if there is a red priest there, then and they tell you to look in the flames, you'll see something, because Melisandre does something very similar to Stannis. So there's differences book to show. So it seems like in the show, with the aid of a red priest, anyone can look, and in the books, it's more like you have to learn how to look into the flames, essentially. Okay, let's take another question. So you guys would definitely get more questions answered if you asked me questions on Twitter. The dagger must be certainly important to the plot, given that picture of it was shown in the book Sam took. It could just be a thing. I don't know. I don't see. Look, my thing is, I don't trust the showrunners enough to leave me clues and subtle hints like that anymore. It could just be a fluke, like so many things throughout the show have just been flukes that people have made too much out of. So that's why I don't put too much stock in like, oh, this was in like some magazine or this is in this book, because a lot of stuff is in places and like it just comes out and it doesn't mean anything. It just doesn't mean anything anymore. Holy crap. Thanks, Morgan Raiden. He just gave me a $22 super chat. So I got to answer this question. Do you think grayscale can be treated to enter a dormant state like the flu in our world, but it can come back? See, that is my opinion of it. I believe that people may have think that they've been cured in the past, but in reality, it is dormant. and it is incurable. And I think that the free folk have an understanding of the fact that it's incurable. And the reason that we're getting two different perspectives on the thing, from both the Citadel saying that it can be cured in children and the Wildlings saying that it can never be cured, is because like they're both kind of true at the same time. Like perhaps people think it can be cured, but really in actuality it can't, and it's just dormant, and it's always a threat. Hello, Gray Area. I didn't notice you in my comments. How are you? Look, guys, look forward to seeing a video with Gray Area and I, and also Jimma from Secrets of the Citadel. Should be out tomorrow. Okay, but that was a great question, Morgan Raiden. Awesome name, by the way. I'm so glad I wasn't the only one who saw the Gravedigger in the Hound's actions. Don't you also think there is a part of Maribolt's words from his dialogue with Brienne and Podrick to Arya's conversation with the Lannister soldiers? Don't you think that there is a part of Maribolt's words from his dialogue with Brienne and Podrick to Arya's conversation? I don't necessarily... Maribolt is the priest from the Quiet Owls in A Feast for Crows. And he basically... What does he say? I don't remember exactly what his words are. I'm sorry. I don't remember exactly what he says to Brienne. And, like, with the scene with Arya, though I liked it, it was kind of... Because my thing is, with the show now, like, I could have been a lot harsher with my review, but, like, I was kind of just, like, going on things that I liked, pointing out stuff that I liked. I wasn't trying to be, like, super critical of it. Like, you guys know the complaints that I have with the show, so I was just kind of going on things that I liked. I thought the talk was a little bit less like, these are like the nicest Lannister soldiers in the entire world. Like they'll like what's going on here? Like I've never seen a group of soldiers that young. Not that young, but that nice, that friendly. They're just like, sure, this random traveler can share food, and we're gonna just sing songs and be like super nice. They don't seem like soldiers at all. Okay, let's get to some more questions. Let's go to Facebook, actually. What do you think about the whole, in first episode, Cersei standing on the neck, Jaime standing near the fingers, therefore foreshadowing her death story? Some even say that Ed singing that particular song about Shae and him could add to that theory as well. I don't think it's that deep. They're saying that Cersei was standing, when she was standing on the map, that she's standing on the neck and Jaime's standing on the fingers. I don't think it's that deep. I really, really, really don't think it's that deep. So yeah, that's just my response to that. See, look, you had to get me with the Star Trek. We can play this Picard thing, I think. It's only 18 seconds.
Your report describes how rational these people are. Millennia ago, they abandoned their belief in the supernatural. Now you are asking me to sabotage that achievement, to send them back into the dark ages of superstition and ignorance and fear? No!
Brilliant. Like, okay, Patrick Stewart is brilliant. See that? Okay, see he posted this in response to his other question about grayscale. See, Star Trek, in that episode, basically what was going on is that they were watching a civilization, but then they got discovered. And basically the guy was like, Picard, you have to go back down there and pretend to be a god, and if they're going to start a religion over you, and if they think you're God, go down there and teach them the right way. And Picard's like, I absolutely will not play God. I will not feed into their superstitions. I want to educate them. But see, I think it's a different story with the children, because this isn't just superstition. This is experience. The children have long millennia of experience with this. So I think it's in there to show a different perspective. That's why it's there. Okay. Okay. Let's get some more questions from YouTube. Let's see. How did Arya know Talisa was pregnant? I am not entirely sure because like there is Jane is not pregnant in the books. At least there's not really any indication that she's pregnant. Was it common knowledge that Talisa was pregnant in the show? Was it common knowledge? I don't remember if it was common knowledge, and I feel like it. I feel like the. Dang it! I don't know. I just can't. I can't say because I don't remember if it was common knowledge or not. If it was common, if people knew about it, then I feel like Arya knew. But who knows? If it was rumored at all, then I feel like people would say Talisa was pregnant regardless. So I didn't know that Arya could use the voice of the face she wears. I missed when they explained this in a previous episode. That's interesting as well. It's never really mentioned in the books either. It's not. I don't think it's mentioned in the books at all. Like Arya does take a few people's identities in the books, but it's very vague how it happens actually, and we don't actually have as much time in Bravos in the books as Arya hasn't had as much training in the books as Arya in the show, so I don't actually know. I don't actually know if it's the voice as well or not. What other examples do we have? We have the waif putting on that old woman's face, and she kind of sounds like an old woman. She's like, "Sweet girl," and she's super old. So maybe that's canon in the show that once you get the face, you get the voice. I mean, I don't think there's anything that's been in the show so far that would go against that. Gray Area says she gets the ugly little girl's memories, doesn't she? Does she get her memories? Because I always kind of thought that she just learned information about her, and she just knew about her life. But But was it the memories too? Was it the memories too? I'm a little vague on this. To be honest, I am a little vague on this. You didn't mention the Hound looking in the flames. That was a major revelation. What are your thoughts about his scene with Beric and Thoros about the Lord of Light? This scene strengthened my suspicion about the gods being non-existent and people are only ascribing their own abilities to some divine source. Power resides where men believe it resides. Okay. I did mention that scene. I enjoy the scene a lot. Okay, when it comes to the Hound and what he saw in the show, I feel as though something was sending him that vision. When it comes to visions in the flames, I feel like something is definitely sending those visions. Some force unseen is sending these visions and sending these things that people are interpreting as the Lord of Light. I don't know what it is, but something is sending him. But I think a lot of times, like in the case with Melisandre, that power resides where men believe it resides. That's true. Because I don't think that the Lord of Light is actually a thing. I think Melisandre has power and she studied all this stuff. And I think there is some entity that exists, some force that she is interpreting as the Lord of Light. But I don't think that that's necessarily it. Okay, it looks like I got some Twitter questions, actually. Q&A. So Bran has no personality no more? He's just some robotic crow soothsayer. I mean, basically. I mean, we haven't seen enough of him to say where exactly they're taking the character, but I feel like we're getting the cryptic Bran from now on, the Bran that's just like, I saw you in the flames, or well, not necessarily, but I think that's the Bran that we've got from at this point on. He's got it. He's the old wise man essentially. He's the new three-eyed crow. So. Old Bran is pretty much gone. Bran that, the Bran that was always like, because in the books you read Bran and he's very much so, oh, I'm just a cripple and I've got no use and this is just what I gotta do for the rest of my life. And in the show I feel like, yeah, this is him. This is him now. Okay, I'm gonna take some questions from the live chat. Now. The Hound was watching the preview episode in the flames. Interesting. Do you think it is possible that the waif killed Arya and is wearing her face now? But then why is the waif going around doing Arya's bidding and finishing the people on Arya's list? I don't know. I don't see how that could work. Unless the waif just for some reason has to fulfill Arya's oath to the god of death, to the many-faced god. I mean, I think that's an interesting idea. It'd be a twist. It'd definitely be a twist. Hey, why will Jon go to Eastwatch in your opinion? I am not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure. Um, but definitely he's going. I think he's going beyond the wall because where else is there to go? You need information on how to stop these creatures, and you need to make a move against these creatures. You need to know what you're up against. Maybe he's going to find something to find them. Maybe even try to be diplomatic. I don't know if Jon is going to go and try and be diplomatic with the others, but maybe. George R. Martin has stated that more about the nature of these beings will be explained eventually, and they're not just killing mankind just because. They're not just let's just kill because that's what we do and we're just the bringers of death. It's got to be about so much more than that, and I feel like Jon Snow may go to try and understand more about why it's happening. Did the Hound's vision remind you of Melisandre's vision at the wall with the skulls and the towers by the sea? Yes. With the dead things in the water. Well, not the dead things in the... Well, it is the dead things in the water vision. Well, that's from the letter, but yeah, it reminded me of that. Like, I remember that scene. So in Melisandre's vision, she sees the cliffs, and she sees caves, and then she sees white mist, and dead things shambling in the darkness. And slowly the lights in the caves go out one by one. Yeah, so she sees death in that could be interpreted as a lot of different places. She sees a lot of things in that vision as well. She also sees dragons, and she also sees monsters and death from the sea. So, yeah, Melisandre's vision. Yeah, well, yeah, it is similar to what the Hound sees in the Flames. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm reading so much at once that I'm getting flustered. Q&A. Could Euron marry Cersei in the books, if not in the show? I think Euron, although he's telling Cersei that he's kissing her ass, I think that he's got a way crazier plan than she could even expect. But as far as marriage, I'd like to see it happen. To be honest, I'd love to see Euron marry Cersei because it's just the evil queen and the evil king. The evil queen and the evil queen, and I'm so curious as to see the mayhem that these two evil people can cause. I'm so here for it. Like, I feel like Cersei is one of the best villains ever. Look, show Cersei is one of the greatest villains. Book Cersei too, but show Cersei in particular is one of the greatest villains in television history because you understand why she's so messed up. You love to hate this character, and she's fabulous. She's fabulous. She's such a diva, and she's just... She'll kill... She gets what... She gets stuff done. If you cross Cersei, she's gonna get you. So that's why... Show Cersei's such a good villain, and I would love to see her and Euron. I feel like maybe Cersei is what is required to bring out the character Euron a bit and make him a little bit better. And I'd love to see them get married. I'd love to see Euron be king and Cersei be queen, and them just fight Daenerys and Jon. King Cersei and Euron versus Queen Daenerys and Queen Daenerys and King Jon. Well, whatever. I'm sleepy. I'm tired. It's still early. Ugh. His and Cersei's dialogue was cringeworthy in episode 1. Yeah, it kind of was. Like, Jaime's like, don't you care about our son? And she's like, no, fuck the family. Fuck all of them. It only matters. We only matter. Do you think George R. Martin will pull the twist of making Dany the real threat to the realm instead of the White Walkers? I don't think so. I'm going to take a Twitter question. Do you think we'll get to see the Dorne or the Tyrell army this upcoming season? The entire armies? I don't think so. I don't think we'll see the Dornish army because like it looks like they've spent so much on the battle between the Lannisters and the Dothraki, and also the Unsullied attack on Casterly Rock. So I don't think they have it in their budget for an entire another army, and plus they weren't shown in the trailer at all, to my knowledge. So I don't think they'll be in this season. Women can become faceless men. The abilities of faceless men are not genetic or limited to any specific race. Anyone can. Yeah, oh, it's a part of a longer question. Okay, faceless men aren't complete shapeshifters, i.e., they can't violate the law of conservation of matter and suddenly grow drastically taller or shorter, though they can dramatically change their appearance within these parameters. Either men or women can become faceless men. Yeah, I understand all of that. It wasn't exactly a question. Okay, let's get another YouTube question in. Do you think Euron has gone to get a kraken? I feel like for a show that would come right out of left field, but in the books, I feel like a kraken could totally show up. There's already been mention of a kraken in the books. So in the books, possibility. In the show, I don't think so. How did Littlefinger know about Brienne defeating the Hound? The only witness was Arya. Never mind, she probably just told him. Last episode, she walked straight up to Davos and Melisandre to tell them she killed King Stannis. Yeah. I think she probably told him. Like Brienne has kind of been a bragger, hasn't she? She's kind of a braggart. She's kind of a bragger. Yeah. She probably just told them. So do I understand this correctly? Sansa wanted Jon to murder Alice Karstark and Ned Umber, 10 years old, to punish them. Demonstrate to the Northern Lords that treason is treason, just like Pycelle wanted Sansa murdered because of her father's mistake actions. Because of treason, just like the way Joffrey publicly punishing Sansa because of Robb's actions in the War of the Five Kings. Sansa wants to do the exact same thing to these kids, right? Yes, she did learn a lot in King's Landing. I don't think Sansa necessarily wanted them killed. She just didn't want the families in charge of the castles anymore. And I don't remember Pycelle ever wanting Sansa killed either. He just didn't want her to marry Joffrey. I don't remember him saying, let's kill Sansa, because, like, why would he want Sansa to be killed? I mean, she's a bargaining chip. Sansa would have been the best bargaining chip with the North if she hadn't have escaped. But she escaped. So I don't think Sansa necessarily wanted them killed. She just didn't want them, which was kind of reasonable, to be honest. They were betrayed by these families, and you know, when treason is committed, the lands are stripped from those families generally, and it would have been well within their rights to do so. As kings of the North now, not even wardens anymore. What do you think the likelihood of Dragonglass somehow being useful in treating of Grayscale is? And what other reasons might they have for keeping Mormont alive around in the show? It would be easy just to have him ride off into the sunset. And he'll probably be cured. Upon further consideration of it, I think that Dragonglass, in the end, is probably like the one-all cure-all, and that it'll probably be used to cure Jorah. But I still think that it's silly that they have this cure in this book, and yet they haven't told anyone, and people die of Grayscale all the time, and the Citadel is just keeping this in the restricted section. Like, no one's going through these books. No one's going through these books and being like, oh, well, this can cure this disease that's like a huge problem in a bunch of places in the world. No, there's none of that. It's just like, yeah, let's just hoard this information. And the only way that anyone finds out is if Sam steals a book. I have a feeling that Euron's gift will be him trying to kill Tyrion after that speech before about killing families. I have a feeling more than ever Cersei wants Tyrion dead, and Euron is going to try and kill him. Well, I feel like if Euron's going to try and kill Tyrion, why not just kill Daenerys? Like, she's right there. I did think Tyrion at first, but I thought that isn't that like a little bit too obvious? Are we really just going with the most obvious option every single time with this show? Every single time we're just gonna go with the most obvious option, because I feel like Euron killing Tyrion would be too. That's what we expect him to do. That's what I expected initially, and then I thought dragon, and then I thought about it a little bit more, and I thought sand snakes. I feel like the sand snakes would be better. I feel like that would be a better thing, because him killing Tyrion is just obvious. Okay. If you're watching right now, feel free to throw a thumbs up. I think there are about 300 people watching. So if everyone liked this, I'd have 300 thumbs up, and it would be awesome. So throw in thumbs up. Thumbs up. Let's go back to Facebook. I think I'm out of Facebook questions, actually. Yeah, there aren't any more Facebook questions, so we just got YouTube. This page will not load. It loaded the ad, but it won't load the comments. I gotta refresh.
If you write anything on your computer, you need to get Grammarly.
I don't give a crap about fucking Grammarly. Whatever the flip it is. Okay. Yay, new questions. Isn't Jon a hypocrite for giving the castles to the heirs because they're heirs while retaining the throne? Well, Sansa is okay with Jon having the throne. I mean, the Starks were kings of the North long before the Seven Kingdoms were united under 7 flags. Not under one flag. Well, did he even have a flag? Under one king. Under one king. I thought the episode was great. The ending seeing a bit being too long, though. But why was Dragonstone so empty? I already answered that question. I already answered that question. What would make Sansa happy? What do you think her motives are for the season will be? I don't think Sansa really has any motives. I think she's just trying to establish herself in Winterfell, and I mean, I feel like she's just kind of going with the flow. I feel like she's just going with the flow, just like me. Just kind of going with the flow. What do you think the likelihood of Dragonglass somehow being... I've already stated that I think it's likely. As far as grayscale is concerned. Would you do a video where you think... on where you think the series has gone wrong? Oh my god, the video would be so long. The video would be so long. Do you think there is a connection between the werewood trees and the many-faced god? The many faces could refer to the faces of the trees, and the sacrificial rituals that repeatedly associate with the werewoods are certainly befit to those a god of death would demand. That's very interesting, because I mentioned once that Jon Snow in the books is having a dream, and in that dream he sees a werewood tree, and the tree has his brother's face, and he smells the tree, and he can smell the earth, he can smell the tree, he can smell Bran, but underneath that smell, underneath all that, is the smell of death, and he says that it's a terrible smell. So that actually fits into your theory. It certainly does. What purpose does Podrick play? Like Bronn and Missandei, these three are in the midst of everything, and their origins are questionable. They all know things they shouldn't. That is a very good point. I think, ultimately, I think Podrick is harmless. He's Brienne's squire. I feel like them turning Podrick into something else would piss off a lot of fans. I think the most questionable person is Bronn. I know a lot of people just love Bronn. I know a lot of people love Bronn and will do anything for Bronn and just think Bronn's like the greatest thing ever. But I am glad that he hasn't been in the season so far, and I hope he doesn't show up. I really do. I don't care about Bronn. Do you think why? Who keeps? Oh, this Kristen is going ham on my Twitter feed over here, talking to me about face dancers. Not face dancers, but face dancers. That's Dune. But talking to me about the faceless men. You're sending me way too much to read on a live stream in a tweet. Isn't Davos supposed to know that there's dragon glass on Dragonstone? If so, why make Sam be the one who discovers it? Plot hole. Okay, look. See, here's my thing. I didn't point this out in my review of it, even though I noticed it, because look, I don't know what it is, but I can't, like, if I had gone into this review being my normal, see, I even thought about doing one review that's just like, yeah, I mean, giving thoughts on the episode, and in another view of me pointing out all the fucking criticisms that I had of it. I felt like that if I did a video like that and was just like critical of every little thing, people would take it the wrong way, like they usually do, and people would get all butthurt and they would like thumbs down the video. So I held back on it, but I won't hold back as heavily as I did in the first video with my review for episode 2, because like, I was giving the first episode kind of a break because it is the first episode, but episode 2, it's gotta do its thing. It's gotta be good, or else I've gotta point shit out. Like, and even the little bit that I said, just by virtue of me even being like, oh, the Arya scene was kind of cringy, like people were pissed off at me. People were pissed off just about that, because look, see, the thing is, this is the problem with people with fanboyism. People have been told for so long that Game of Thrones is so good, but by the time that a bunch of people started watching it, it actually wasn't that good. And like people, and like, because most of the time people don't know what's good. Just, I mean, call me an elitist, call me an asshole, but most of the time people don't know what's good. People don't know what's actually good media, what's actually good material. People are just coasting on what other people tell them the vast majority of the time. People don't know how to judge shit for themselves. Like, the average person doesn't know shit about writing or cinematography or directing or acting. They're just coasting. They're coasting off what everyone else is saying, basically. Like, I feel like most people are sheep, and most people need to be told what's good, to be quite frank. And that, you can call me an elitist, you can say whatever you want about that statement, but I feel like that's mostly true. So and I feel like people are so like, this is the best show ever, that they're unwilling to take any criticism about Game of Thrones. And everyone knows I love Game of Thrones. I've always loved Game of Thrones. I mean, I've loved this show before it even aired. I was pumped about this show. That's not gonna stop me from pointing out. I mean, that's not gonna stop me from pointing out when it sucks. Look, I love Star Trek The Next Generation, and I'll say it right now. Star Trek The Next Generation has some of the shittiest episodes ever in season 1 and 2. Some of the shittiest episodes ever. I'll point that out. Do I hate Star Trek? No. Okay. Yeah, but I do think it's a plot hole that no one listened to Stannis, that Bravos doesn't say anything about the Dragon Glass, when Jon Snow's like, the Dragon Glass is what we need the most, and Davos doesn't say anything. Jon Snow's literally like, Dragon Glass is our #1 priority, and Davos doesn't say anything. I feel like he should have said something. And I feel like Sam should have just believed Stannis when Stannis said that there was Dragon Glass. Like, I mean, if Dragon Glass is so crucial, and Stannis, who's been at Dragonstone all this time, is telling you that there's Dragon Glass, you could have at least wrote a letter to Jon Snow being like, hey, check this out. There's like supposedly a huge pile of it at freaking Dragonstone. Check it out. So I don't get why like, he didn't just send a letter already. So the Iron Fleet went past Dragonstone twice to get to King's Landing and leave. Even assuming Daenerys hasn't gotten there yet, which I think she has gotten there, he'll have to go past Dragonstone again to get back to Cersei. Also, Stannis used Dragonstone to launch the assault on King's Landing, and Cersei let Daenerys take Dragonstone with open doors. Is she insane, or is she just really insanely stupid? I don't think she wants a crushing victory, only an actual vegetable with giving Daenerys Dragonstone with her fleet. The Dothraki, three dragons, and the Unsullied would be a good fucking idea by now. Well, how? I don't think Cersei thought she could beat Daenerys. I don't think Cersei thought she could beat Daenerys. Like you said, Daenerys has a fleet. She has a standing army. She has 3 dragons. Like, if Cersei had set a party there, they'd be roasted. I mean, they could have set traps, but ultimately, Daenerys, it would have been fruitless. Everyone's saying how weird it was that no one was at Dragonstone. Okay, back to the chat questions. What makes A Song of Ice and Fire so good is not because of all the sex, violence, shocks, and death. It's because he gets you care about the people in that world. Empathy is such a powerful tool. Indeed. Indeed. Why are there 3 kingdoms under Cersei? Isn't it just one? What are the kingdoms still under Cersei? There's the West, where Casterly Rock is. There is the Reach. Wait, is the Reach? I mean, there are 3 kingdoms. I can't name them right now. It's too. Look, guys, you got to understand that it is very early for me. I have not slept all night. And this live stream was actually I was actually going to start this live stream at 6 a.m. But I thought, I really can't do this to, like, my American people, because I'm like, then it's going to be too early for pretty much everyone. So I waited, and I took a nap, and I stayed up. And right now I cannot name them, but it's approximately 3. It is approximately 3. Okay. Who do you think the visitor that Dany receives in the next episode is going to be? Visitor. Who could it be? It may be too soon for Jon Snow, but I mean, it depends on the scale. See, there you go. Gray area, Riverlands, Casterly Rock, and King's Landing. There you go. There it is. Because the Reach still the Reach is that's where the Tyrells live. So that would be in Dany's camp at the moment. I was answering a question, but I lost track of it. Oh, the visitor that Dany receives. Depending on how much time passes in the episode, it could potentially be Jon. Depending on the amount of time that passes in the episode. If it's slower like this episode, then I don't know. And then also, and what I hope that the visitor will be, I hope it's the Lady Melisandre. I would love to see what the Lady Melisandre has to say to Daenerys. I feel like she could say some very, very, very interesting things to Daenerys. I feel like she'd be very helpful to Daenerys, because Melisandre's very powerful. Like, Melisandre may have been wrong about a bunch, but Melisandre's very powerful. Melisandre is an asset to have on your side. And I think that if Melisandre is going anywhere, she's going to Dragonstone. That's the place where we first see her in the books and in the show. So I think, hopefully, that Melisandre is the visitor. Everyone's saying Sweet Robin for president. Emergency awesome as shit. Oh my god. Don't insult any... Don't... damn it. Now someone's gonna fucking cap me saying that. And it's gonna get spread around. Like, oh, look at what he said about emergency awesome. Look, I don't watch the guy... Look, I don't watch a lot of A Song of Ice and Fire YouTubers. I don't... Like, I used to watch some before I started my channel, but as I start doing my channel, I don't want to get accused of stealing anybody's ideas. So all of my channel research is done independently. Like, if I make a video, I am going through these books and I'm taking notes and I'm writing stuff down. I'm not looking at other people's videos. I'm not going on Reddit sites. I'm not... Sometimes I look at a Wikipedia to clarify some things, but I'm building my ideas from scratch. I am not watching other people's videos, and I'm not like, oh, like writing shit down and being like, oh, I can say that in my video. I don't do that, because I don't ever want to be put in a situation where someone's like, oh, you stole that from so and so, and you took that from so and so. I just feel like that's really, I feel like if people do that, I feel like that's really shitty. But like, if they do it to me, I don't notice, because I don't watch a lot of other people's videos. Do you follow Preston Jacobs? I do follow him, but I don't watch as many of his videos as I used to. Do you think the sigil on Dragonstone will be Targaryen in the next intro? What about the twins, Stark? The Starks didn't conquer the twins. Arya just killed them all. But I would love to see the Targaryen banners at Dragonstone. It's where they belong. See, I was reading The World of Ice and Fire last night, and let me just tell you guys a cool story. I'll pull up this image while I'm telling you this cool story about Aegon Targaryen. In fact, I'll grab The World of Ice and Fire. We're having a little remission. So I want to tell you the story of why Aegon Targaryen conquered. So this is why Google is a million times better than fucking Edge, because Google, I can get the image to go on full screen in Google, but when it comes to fucking Edge, it just doesn't work. So the story of Aegon. So people know that Aegon just suddenly decided to conquer the Seven Kingdoms, but they don't necessarily know why. And the reason is it might be a little shocking to you, the reason that he conquered. So I'll start from the beginning. So the Targaryens left Valyria because one of the Targaryen ladies had a vision, and she saw the doom of Valyria. So they went to Dragonstone, and they were on Dragonstone for a while. They still had allies in the east, and they also just dealt with like the other people in the Seven Kingdoms. So one time, this guy comes to Aegon, and he's like, marry my daughter, and I'll give you this land. And Aegon's like, well, this land doesn't belong to you, and also I've got 2 wives, I don't want to marry your daughter. And he's like, but here's my proposal. Your daughter can marry Orys Baratheon, and not only do I want the land there, I also want this other land. And this guy's so pissed off by what Aegon said that he chops off the messenger's hands and sends them to Aegon in a box, and he's like, this is the only hand that you'll get in marriage for a bastard, because like the guy that Aegon wanted his daughter to marry was a bastard, Orys Baratheon. He's like, this is the only hand you'll get to me to marry a bastard. He's like, fuck you, basically. And so Aegon doesn't reply. He doesn't reply, and he gathers all of his council, and then a little bit later, bunch of ravens leave Dragonstone. Like just a cloud of ravens just fly out of Dragonstone. And then basically Aegon's like, you know what? If y'all are gonna do, he's like, you know what? Fuck the Seven Kingdoms. Fuck all of y'all. I'm just gonna take all this shit over. And he's like, all of y'all will bend the knee. And if you don't, I will fuck your shit up. And he just unleashes a tirade of conquering. Like, he slays. He sends his sisters, Visenya and Rhaenys, to go fucking take castles, and they take that shit. He, like, lands in King's Landing, and he builds, like, this little makeshift castle, like, gets that up quick, and, like, he just conquers. It's just like a tirade. So it was all like, he decided to conquer the Seven Kingdoms all because this one guy killed his envoy and was like, and was basically a douche. He conquered the Seven Kingdoms just to prove that he had balls. It was just like a huge testosterone thing. And he's just like, you know what? Fuck you. I can conquer everything. I don't need you to give me your land. I'll just take it anyways. And it's just awesome and epic, and it's just like great. And I love Aegon. He's just such a formidable warrior. So that was a digression, but yeah. So that's why Aegon decided to conquer the Seven Kingdoms. Very interesting. And the series of events that led to it is even more interesting, in my opinion. Like with Daenerys the Dreamer, because you have to wonder, in my opinion, that the dreams that are being sent into the mind of the characters come from someplace. They come from somewhere else. So who sent her that dream? Someone wanted the Targaryens out of Valyria. Some force did. Yeah, and I like, and when you learn more about Aegon, it's just very interesting. Like the dilemma between him and Rhaenys and Visenya. See, Visenya was older than both Aegon and Rhaenys. So Visenya was kind of like, she was the older sister. She was very stern, and it said that Aegon married her out of duty, but he didn't have to marry Rhaenys. It wasn't custom. He only had to marry one, but he married Rhaenys because he wanted to. So yeah, and it's like he spent more time with Rhaenys as well than Visenya. Do you reckon Euron's fleet will attack Dragonstone in the next episode? I think they arrived before Dany got to Dragonstone, and on Euron's way back, they'll clash. I mean, I hope so. I'd love to see it. I mean, it seems like that's what the scene from the trailer is of Asha. When we see like the ships in the fire, it seems like that's what it is. It seems like that's what's going on there. What are your extended thoughts on the Patchface character? Well, I assume you've seen my video on Patchface. I've done a Song of Ice and Fire theory video on Patchface. And if you're not familiar with the character Patchface, in the books, Shireen has a fool. And he's from Volantis, and he talks in riddles. And I think that he is possessed by the drowned god, essentially, and that he was saved by the drowned god and brought back, and that he's the messenger, he's the envoy of the drowned god's will. That's what I think. And I know a lot of people think that's a stretch, but I laid out my reasons for thinking that in my theory about Patchface, and that's what I think about Patchface. Like it's one of those elements where I go off the deep end with fantasy. I'm a fantasy nerd at my core. So, can you sing "Last of the Giants"? Please, your voice is amazing. Ed Sheeran should have sung that song in the cameo. No singing in this live stream. Sorry, I haven't slept. The last one was bad enough. The last one was bad enough. Do you think Arya will see Nymeria? Arya seeing Nymeria will be significant, or just like a cameo? Ugh, it better be significant. But honestly, I don't know how much they're willing to have the wolves around this season, because it apparently is like a huge budgetary thing to have those wolves on screen. So, I don't think. I mean, I'm hoping that we get a pack, but I'm not counting on it, is what I'm trying to say. I'm hoping, but I'm not counting on it. Okay, time to take some more chat questions. See what the people in the Chatimus Cratimus are saying. Do you think Aegon and Visenya could have been greatly helped in their marriage with some counseling? I mean, it wasn't about love. It was about duty. At the end of the day, for Aegon. So I don't think they needed counseling or anything. But honestly, I think a lot of couples in A Song of Ice and Fire could get some counseling, to be perfectly honest. I mean, like Cersei and Robert could have used counseling for sure. Certainly. Okay. You guys think Jon can get to Dragonstone and back to the Wall before the White Walker come to the Wall? Yes. I certainly do. I like with the way the show does traveling, I see no problem. I see absolutely no problem with that happening. Do you think Varys is a merman? Obviously. Obviously, Varys is a merman. Will the bittersweet ending George R. R. talk about parallel Paul Atreides and Dune come out on top but tortured? Interesting. See, the way Dune, I think Dune might shock a bunch of people. Like Dune, from the very beginning, you know that Paul Atreides comes out on top. But by the second book, it's like he is, not only is he tortured by his power and what he sees in his visions, he has created this jihad that's spread across the entire universe. And so many people have died in his name. So it is a bittersweet ending. And I feel like George R. R. Martin is going for something like that. I definitely think that the kingdom, the people, and everything about this world will be hurt. There'll be a great sense of loss at the end of all this. Like George R. R. Martin said, there'll be a great sense of loss. I feel like in the end, The children will wither. The werewolves will wither. Perhaps. Magic will leave this world, and the dragons will die, and though the world will be saved from the threat of the others, in the end, it'll be less. It'll be less for for the people of the world will be less for what they've gone through. They'll learn, but something about it will be empty. Why would pushing dragon glass that apparently is hard dragon fire into the heart turn someone into a White Walker? Not some kind of fire warrior. I'm the only one who doesn't get this. Look, I mean, the show is obviously using dragon glass as the answer to everything at this point. Like Cold Hands, dragon glass, grayscale, dragon glass. We knew it killed White Walkers from the beginning, but you know. And the Children of the Forest, they hunted with dragon glass daggers far before the others even came. So that's another interesting tidbit. The Hound is the prince who was promised. A lot of people are saying that. Paul Atreides can just smoke some spice and he'll be all right, like me. See, look, the spice is like, it gives him those visions, man, and those visions torture him. Excuse me, those visions certainly torture him. Let's see if I can answer a few more questions. I've been streaming for about an hour, so I'll go a little bit longer if I can get some more questions. Some more questions where it's answering. I've answered most of this stuff up here. I wish people would stop talking to me about spoilers. Look, I read those leaks, and honestly, I barely remember any of them. And I'm glad that I barely remember any of them. I don't want to remember any more of them. Because from what I'm hearing, the leaks were, for the most part, right. And I'm not even going to look at it because I don't even want to look at my own video to remember what the leaks said. Because, you know, screw it. Like, I'm not interested in knowing. I just want to be as surprised as possible. Because if that Arya thing was in the leak, I didn't remember it. I certainly didn't remember it from the leaks. I don't remember shit from. I remember maybe like one or two things from that leak. I remember obviously the major thing that leaked that everyone was shitting bricks about. I remember that, but I will not say what it was in case you don't know what it was. And please, no one say it in the comments either, in case someone doesn't want to know what the leak is. So yeah, I don't remember those leaks, and I don't care about them. I feel like if that leak is 100% true, then fucking shame on HBO for being so fucking careless as to let that leak online, because it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous, and I don't understand how they could be this careless. I don't understand how they could be this careless. I really don't. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's honestly ridiculous. Do you think Euron is combined either Victorian? Do you think show Euron is combined either Victorian? Is combined either Victorian? Do you think we will see hints of book Euron this season? Show Euron is nothing like Victorian at all. And he's nothing like Euron at all. Well, he's kind of like Euron, but not really. I don't feel like he's combined. I mean, I kind of feel like certain parts of Victorian have been taken from him, but he's really nothing like Victorian. I think he's just like the show's version of Euron. He's just the show version of Euron. Will Benjen / Cold Hands appear again, and if so, do you think he will have a major impact in the fight against the White Walkers? Why not show Cold Hands again? In the book, his goal is to get Bran to the Three-Eyed Crow, and you don't really know what use he has beyond that. But, I mean, if they want to show him again, I'm sure. I mean, with Jon beyond the wall, it looks like Jon goes beyond the wall with the party, and they all die. So maybe Cold Hands helps him out there. And it would be his uncle, too. Yeah. Look, it would totally... I'm going to make a prediction right now. Jon's beyond the wall. He's lost. He sees Uncle Benjen one last time. Cold Hands saves him. That's my prediction right there. That's my prediction right there. Q&A, I feel that Cersei could be the modern day Maid of Light. Look at Jaime's Werewood dream and Aegon's dream. I believe she eventually came the Night Queen. Thoughts? Dude, you have no idea how much I would love it if Cersei became the Night Queen. I would just be like, yes, 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 yes. My queen went from being the baddest living chick to just the baddest undead chick or whatever she'd be. I don't think she'd be undead. She'd be literally transformed. I would love it if Cersei was the Night Queen. I'd love it. Arya Frey scene, actually, because I don't believe that all Freys were present, I think it crippled the Freys in a way that it would be even worse for the survivors. Say if I'm dumb. No, all of the Freys certainly weren't present. It was just the men. There are tons of children. There are tons of children and their wives. So there's been a lot of young boys that have just been upped in their rank. Because it wasn't just those adult men. There were kids and there's wives, and I'm sure there's wives that are pregnant with kids that haven't even born yet. So the Freys are far from finished. Cersei accidentally slips on the fresh paint of the floor map and breaks her neck. Dude, yeah, that's the perfect death. Perfect death. Perfect death for Cersei. Okay, so it looks like I got 300 viewers. So if you're watching this, toss a thumbs up. It helps out a lot. If you've liked the discussion so far, throw in a thumbs up. It helps out. Please and thank you. It's really nice of you. Hey, look. Look. Oh my god, you still haven't thumbs up. Thumbs up. I'm talking you specifically. I'm talking to you. Yes, yes. Look, it's very, very simple. Just hit the thumbs up. What are you doing? You still haven't fucking done it yet. Do it. Okay, thanks. Thanks. Was that so hard? Jesus. Anyways. Looks like I got something on Facebook. Wait, yeah, no. It was just someone liking my page. When will Pate return? In the books? There is no Pate in the show. There is certainly no Pate in the show, but in the books, I'm sure he'll be in the Winds of Winter. If you haven't read the book, then you know that. I mean, if you have read the book, then you know that Pate is a character from the beginning of A Feast for Crows, and basically by the end of A Feast for Crows, Jaqen H'ghar, the man that was pretending to be Jaqen H'ghar, the man that was wearing Jaqen H'ghar's face is now wearing Pate's face, and he's with Sam in the Citadel. But I don't think he'll show up in the show. I don't see that happening. I think that character is just... Well, maybe. Well, no, because they already gave Jaqen his plot in the show. He's got a different plot in the show. So I don't think there's any Pate in the show, but in the book, we'll definitely see him in the Winds of Winter and those Sam at the Citadel chapters. I love how I asked for thumbs up and at least 2 people gave thumbs down. That's great. It's fantastic. What do you think will happen when Melisandre meets Dany? I think Melisandre will see that Dany is the one that she prophesized about the entire time, but she won't be as certain. Thank you, AJ Utterback, for the $5 super chat. Love your content. Do you think Quaithe will show up again in Game of Thrones show? I want to see a shy. Oh my god. I think I would love to see Quaithe one final moment. I don't think we'll get to see a shy though. I don't think we'll get to see a shy, but I'd love to see Quaithe. I don't think they're gonna do it though. I think a lot of what they show in the show at this point depends on what show watchers care about, and I think that Quaithe is simply not something that's on most people's radar. If you said that name to most people, they wouldn't know who she was. I just feel like I just don't think so. Even though I would hope as like just such a Quaithe fan, I don't think so. Will Jorah stop touching shit? That is a good question, T-Baby. I'm wondering the exact same thing because I'm just like, you've got grayscale. Stop. Like, why would he do that? Like, I just don't understand why he would reach his arm out so dramatically and try to grab Sam like that, knowing that he has grayscale. That just seems really, really, really ridiculous to me. Don't do that. You sick bastard. Top guess for what Sam learned for a while in the Citadel. Warzarha, Long Night, Night King. I think he'll read about something, brand, plant in the past. Ancient dragon glass, lemon cake recipe. I definitely see Sam learning the best lemon cake recipe. Yes, that's what will happen. Sam is going to learn about lemon cakes, and, you know, and then he's going to give the recipe to Jon Snow, and then Jon Snow's going to bake some lemon cakes for Sansa, and then Sansa's going to be chill from that point on, and then she'll just let Jon Snow do whatever he wants, and she's not going to worry about anything, and just, that's what happens. How closely do you think D&D are following George R. Martin's plan? 75%, 10%, 0%? Well, judging by season 4 and 5, I think it's anywhere from 40 to 60%. And I think there are beats that are hit. I think there are beats that are being hit that probably will be in the Winds of Winter. But a lot of it is just their own ideas about stuff, which makes me so sad at the end of the day. I'm not going to lie and be just like the fake, oh, I love everything about this show. I can't do that. Like, it does make me a little sad on the inside to know that it's not what I wanted it to be. Because I think we all, like George R. Martin, felt like we had more time with this show. So I never felt like it was a problem that they were doing it before the books finished, because I was like, they got time. But I feel like ultimately what ended up happening was David and Dan, the writers of the show and the showrunners, they've been doing this for the better part of a decade now, and they simply want to move on to the next point in their career, and they're taking the show with them. They don't want someone else's name to be on the show at the end of it. It's a pride thing, and I feel like it's kind of despicable, to be honest. I feel like if you're tired of doing this show, instead of rushing it, give it over to more capable hands, and don't be so prideful about it, because this is not this game of A Song of Ice and Fire is George R. Martin's work. It's not theirs. So I feel like they have so much pride that they don't want to see anyone else finishing the show. So rather than letting the show take its time to finish, they're rushing it, just so they can keep their names on it. And I just feel like I just don't like that. Do you think Dave and Day are intentionally changing things to avoid book spoilers? No, I don't. I think they're intentionally changing things just to make it their own. I feel like that's what's going on. They're trying to make it their own. Got one Twitter question. What do you think is the first offense move of Cersei? I don't think Cersei's gonna make the first strike. I feel like Cersei is gonna be attacked first. I feel like Cersei is sitting waiting, and Cersei's gotta understand, man. She's pretty weak right now, man. Daenerys has got dragons. Daenerys has got dragons. She's got the Unsullied. She's got the fucking Dothraki. I mean, all Cersei has is Euron. And in the show, it looks like the Lannister wealth is dried up. But, you know, that's pretty much never stopped the crown before. But we will see. Cersei has very few allies, and it's surrounded by enemies. Stop rambling on every question, please. You miss lots because you repeat your point 20 times over and over. Stop reading Dave and Dan questions because you ramble too much about them. Put user in timeout block. Timeout? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not an asshole. See, I'm rambling because I'm tired, and I'm doing this live stream. You know what? I'm ending the live stream. I'll see you guys.